we as beekeepers, we choosing mothers for sure. We can buy breeder queens, no problem. But also when we buy a mother, we choosing the fathers because the mother producing drones and the drones we using for the generation one for the natural fecundation. And this is our responsibility, which mothers and which fathers we choose to come forward to get better bees, more healthy bees.
Jeff Pettis, president of Epimondia. What are you doing with this?
Well, this is a really ingenious device, and I first saw it in Austria, I think about 2 years ago, and I got one from the inventor, and I use it and I love it. So I've used it to do a hygienic behavior test, and it speeds up the process quite a bit. Unfortunately, you're seeing those pins. You select an area of sealed brood in the hive, you push it into there, you actually pierce the cappings and injure the individuals. You take it out, you come back 4 or 24 hours later, you see how fast the bees have removed the material. And it's a measure of hygienic behavior. But this tool is amazing because most people take individual needles, 1, 2, 3, and this is 50. One pass and you've punctured 50 individual cells, so it's wonderful. I really love it.
Thank you to everyone that has come to this webinar that Lutz is so great, so honourably donated his time for. We're very thankful. We're thankful for SBGMI for all the work they've done, not just previously, but continue to do in educating beekeepers across the world. And hopefully this helps bridge that language barrier a little bit more, and we can learn from each other and collaborate across the globe and really get some progress towards this varroa resistance across the globe. And with that, I'll let you kick that off, Lutz, and you can start your presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Thank you for the invitation. I like to introduce, because sometimes my English is not the best. For this, we have Anna. She lives now in New Zealand, but she's a native speaking German and English woman. And when I have sometimes translation problem in my brain, she start to speaking. Okay. Today, yeah, Paul, thank you for the invitation. We speak about hygienic behavior, the pin test, the pin killed brood assay. The application and meaning, what I see in the last, it's 2018. I start with that before I'm using the freeze kill brood. A little bit about myself. It's I'm in the middle, in the center of Germany. I based in Jena. It's a little town, 100,000 people, and I'm producing queens. I have a selection company. And the black dots you see here on the card of Europe, they are my clients, where I sell queens in Europe. And the red dots, there is places where I do lectures and meet people. And like we do today, discussing about things and sharing ideas and knowledgement and going forward step by step together. And I like it very, very much. And the green one is the island of Rügen. This is 650 kilometers far from my home base. I have a isolation place where I do the fecundation. When I do not insemination, I also produce queens, breeder queens for the market on the island in the Baltic Sea. Yeah. Okay. Good. What we all want. We want healthy bees, yeah, but because only like Brother Adam, I work with a Buckfast bee. Buckfast is not a definition of genetic, it's a definition of characters. the power of the bees, yeah. And but Brother Adam, he say only a healthy bees can show you the real power and the real strength of colony and the real character. It's only possible to see when the bees are healthy. And we as beekeepers, we choosing mothers for sure. We can buy breeder queens, no problem. But also when we buy a mother, we choosing the fathers because the mother producing drones and the drones we using for the generation one for the natural fecundation. And this is our responsibility, which mothers and which fathers we choose to come forward to get better bees, more healthy bees. And because the importance of this is a recessive inheritance, all the hygienic behavior stuff, all the many characters are recessive in the inheritance, especially the hygienic behavior. Like look on this graphic, this is, you have the mother, it's an example, yeah, the generation 0, and you translate, and then she split for larvae who have the character that's called U, like hygienic behavior, the U, and minus means have no the character, yeah, and then you do this, you translate this and get a virgin queen, and you do the fecundation, insemination or natural fecundation. It's not important with a drone who have not this character, like hygienic behavior. Then when the character on the left slide, when the character comes from the mother and the father have no the character, you see in the bees, in the phenotype, not the character of hygienic behavior. Yeah. In the genotype, in the background, in the genes, you have for sure the 50%. Yeah. But in the phenotype of the worker bees, you don't see the character of hygienic behavior. On the right slide, you see also the same split from the mother, and you put drones inside who deliver the character of hygienic behavior. Then you see in the worker bees the character of hygienic behavior. Yeah. When the mother do not deliver the character of hygienic behavior, and you push or put a drone inside with a character, then you don't see it for sure in the phenotype, not, but you have in the genotype 50% of that. Yeah. You have to know that is very important, because the trick is we have to control the drones. Yeah, when we have a control over the drones, and we can control the drones with like the pin test, we can say, okay, these drones are delivering the character of hygienic behavior. I would like to have it in my colonies. Okay, I need a mother and a father to have this character in the colonies. Yeah, and sometimes, like WSH, you find the mother have a high level of WSH, you find father have high level of WSH in your meaning, what you can't see inside, but the colonies deliver. And then you translate, then you have 0 of WSH or hygienic character in that colony in the next generation. Yeah, that is because you get a drone in that moment who not deliver the character, or you get a split from the F0 who not deliver the character. It's possible, yeah? And to find it, sometimes you find nothing after one generation, then go forward for the next generation, yeah? And deliver by the drone of the character of hygienic behavior, and that you find it back, yeah? Okay. The selection of mothers and fathers, we're using mating stations or mating areas. Mating stations is in Germany. We have protected areas by law, 8 kilometers radius. And mating area is like a private mating area with a 3 kilometer radius where we control all the drones. Yeah, we have total control of the drones. In the mating station is protected by law. In mating area, it's protected by people who work together, yeah, and build a radius. Or we do the insemination, but it's all possible. But you have better vitality in the queens when you use natural fecundation. Yeah. Okay. If you want to import a character, like hygienic behavior. You can have a mother, you like it her very much, yeah, and but you would like to put inside hygienic behavior, then you be using in that kind of situation, we using insemination, because you can put all the characters in the genetic line with over the drone. Yeah, using drones for addition of characters in the genetic line. Yeah. Okay. Good. And here, this is a thing very important. It's this graphic is originally built by Job from Prague, and this is the difference between the phenotype and the genotype. What I say before in the other slide. Also, in the middle, you have here the circle in the middle by the mother, and she do the split. In that case, she's homozygote. She deliver the character of hygienic behavior and 100% because she's homozygote. Yeah, but we would like to produce also homozygote drones. Yeah, for guarantee when we're using it for fecundation. That's why we're using only one drone, a single drone insemination, and then we make the tests. And when the colonies show the character like hygienic behavior, we know, okay, that drone in the next generation, then the drone deliver 100% hygienic behavior. Yeah, this is producing homozygotic drones. But the phenotype is when you check a colony, you have 15 to 20 drones. Yeah, and sometimes is 40% enough to show the character in the phenotype, like hygienic behavior. You make the test, you see 18 hours, 100% remove of the damaged cells of the pupa, yeah. And you say, okay, you have 100% of hygienic behavior in 18 hours. But this is a phenotype. In the genotype, you have only 43%, because only 7 drones from 16 drones deliver the character. But it's enough to show the character in the colony. But when you now translate, you don't know with which drone the larvae is fecundated. It's also possible you translate only on that side. Yeah, that means you control a colony, show the character of hygienic behavior for 100% in 18, 16 hours, not important. Then you say, okay, I would like to have it in the next generation. Then you translate, and you translate only the drones who not deliver hygienic behavior. And then you see also when you put drones with hygienic behavior inside, you see nothing in the next generation. But when you produce homozygotic drones, you have a guarantee that is going forward this character. Yeah. Okay. In that yesterday we do insemination, instrumental insemination. We produce queens. We're using also 3 drones because of smaller. Anna, Achtung. Dass wir also bei ein Drohnen besamte Königinnen haben nicht so eine lange Lebensdauer, aber bei 3 Drohnen ist die Lebensdauer doch etwas länger drin.
So the life expectancy is a lot longer if you inseminate with 3 drones instead of just with 1.
Genau. Und aber trotzdem, wenn wir 3 Drohnen haben und dann umlarven, haben wir eine relative Garantie, dass wir dann immer einen erwischen, den
And
wir dann
even
wieder
if you have
testen,
3
der das
drones
dann
and then you
liefert, ne?
yeah, and then you produce cells, it's much more likely that all of the characteristics will be taken over, as if you would have just done it with 1 drone. So even if something goes wrong, there's still characteristics left.
Genau. Okay. Good. The hygienic behavior test, that is the meaning of the test, yeah? Hygienic behavior is a part of the social immunity of the colony, because not only one bee do all the hygienic behavior, it's many sister groups working together in a different age, and you need bees from 6 to 20 days old, something like that. Yeah. Social immunity is also the swarm. Yeah, it's also a part of the social immunity. The apoptosis is a social immunity. where all the bees work together on one thing, like in hygienic behavior, is that one sister group detect there's something wrong in that cell, another sister group come, open the cell, and another sister group come and remove the cell. And then another sister group cleaning, and then come the queen and laying a new egg. No? Hygienic behavior that protects the bees, the bee colony from diseases or damage of the brood. Also, when it's too cold outside and the bees go closer together and the outside brood comes to cold and it's not enough power to burn, the bees remove the pupa. No? Also, by American foul brood is very, very good when you have bees who can do hygienic behavior by chalk brood or virus defects or the hypothermia thing I say. Okay, hygienic behavior is a part of the Varroa tolerance, yeah? And but colonies that can do Varroa sensitive hygienic also have hygienic behavior, but not all the bees have hygienic behavior, have Varroa sensitive hygienic. That is very, very important. Yeah, it's not automatically hygienic behavior and Varroa sensitive hygienic are different things. Yeah. But how we work is when, for sure, we're looking for suppressed mite reproduction, WSH, SOV is a thing, suppressed in ovo virus comes from Dirk de Graaf from Belgium. They find bees who remove larvae are infected with virus. Yeah, the bees do not wait that the larvae go to a pupa. The bees remove the larvae when it's infected with a virus, suppressed in ovo virus called. Yeah. Also the recapping or the UBO stuff, all the things, when bees can do this, they have all the hygienic behavior. That means for me is the first test, the first control I do is testing hygienic behavior, then I can do the next step. Yeah. And when I produce 100 queens, I make, okay, first is check the laying eggs, then is check the queen have enough vitality to make a good brood nest. When all the things is good, then I make the hygienic test, and then all the bees do not show good results, I put out, and then with the other bees, I go to the next step. Yeah, it's a normal deduction method that you have not so much work because there's a lot of work we have to do. And another marker when I come 4 or 5 o'clock when the sun go up in the morning, when I go to my bees and I find auf dem Boden
on the ground and the high
on the
grass.
ground, when I find on the ground some pupa, yeah, also something but the bees put out in the night, or when the rain period is finished, I go to the bees and then I look, okay, what the bees are doing, and many of the colonies put something out. Pupa they don't like, are infected with virus, with Varroa or stuff like this. Bees or drones are not can help or can put something for the success for the colony. All these pupa, they put them out. Yeah, and this is also a sign what I like very, very much when they take all the things out who cost only energy. And it's a sign also for the hygienic behavior. Okay, for the test, I'm using the 50 needle pin test. 2022, Apimondia give me for that innovation a bronze medal in Turkey. Yeah, I'm a little proud of that because it's better. Also, I starting doing hygienic behavior with one needle. Okay, it was too much. 50 cells with one needle 100 times. This is too much time I put inside. I using also frozen brood, but also too much work for me. I would like to make it very, very easy, very, very fast. And I do a test with Italian guys in Italy. We are 3 persons, and we can check with a 6-hour checkup 120 colonies in 1 day. And it's very, very easy. When you work together, you can do a very, very fast test. But on the ground, you see a lot of copies of the pin test. That means it's good. The things people also do copy the pin test all over the world. It works, yeah, because it's very good. This was here on the left side. This was my first example testing with 100
Prototype.
needles. Yeah, my first prototype. But I using the wrong material because of the cleaning with alcohol, and the alcohol destroys the material. Yeah. On the right side, you see a copy from Arabic country. It's very funny, but you see here also the thing here these are not needles, these are nails. The guy using nails, and in that part, the damage you do in the brood, it's too big. What the pin tests have to do, it's the damage has to be a very, very slow, also sehr klein, small. You have to do a very, very small damage for the bee, and be looking for very, very high sensitive bees. Yeah, and maybe later in the discussion we can see the UBO testing, the spray. Yeah, they show in Germany not so good results by looking for difference by the pin test and the spray. But I would like to see it's I looking for very sensitive bees. Yeah, and maybe the UBO spray show us more sensitive bees. But because the pin test, this is a very invasive method. Yeah, you put a needle and kill the pupa. Yeah, you go inside the cell. Yeah, this is but you have to do a very, very small damage, then it's better. No? Okay. Good. The influence factors. Yeah, this is like I say, the thickness of the perforation. It's very, very important. Small as possible. Yeah. The precision you work with, you need bees in the age of 6 to 20 days. Then that means when you have a new queen, you have to wait for the first brood 21 days, and then you have to wait 21 or 20 days longer because you need the very, very young and also 20-day-old bees. Yeah, the age of the pupa is a standard here. We use on the pupa with purple eye. Other breeder in Luxembourg, he say, okay, it's better to testing bees, a pupa with white eye, but the scientists here, they say, the pupa with the purple eye have enough strength in the Chitin Panzerung, also im Chitinspanzer ist gut genug ausgebildet, damit beim Anstechen die Puppe nicht zerläuft sozusagen. Na, das
so the exoskeleton of the pupa is strong enough that when you puncture it with the needle, the body liquids wouldn't just run out. So it's strong enough to hold everything inside without giving another indicator to worker bees that might attract them to clean them out, other than actually the dead larva, pupa itself.
Yeah. And also scientists, they using older pupas, and they put the needle through the head, yeah, but the bee alive, yeah, and that is also not too old, not too young. Purple eye is a right stadium, and this is important also for reproducing the test and get results, die man vergleichen kann, no?
That you can compare.
Genau, genau. Okay. Also an influence factor, you can make the test with very, very small colonies. It's no problem. Yeah, but you need a good relationship between bees and brood. This is you can do with one brood frame. You can do it with 6 brood frame. It's not a problem. You can do it in the fecundation hive, in the little mini plus or stuff like this. It's not a problem. Yeah, but you need a good relation between bees and brood, and then it's enough. Yeah? When nectar flow is It's on one side is good. It's influence for the test result because the bees, they're using each empty cell in the comb to put the nectar inside, and they look at all the cells that can be also
Empty.
empty, also all die Zellen, die, sage ich mal,
Every
möglich
cell
sind.
that can be empty, they want to have empty, yes. For
Genau,
the
and then they
honey.
clean it, yeah, very, very fast.
Mm.
It's on the other side is also it's a negative factor because when nectar flow, really nectar flow, and then that means we have 11 kilogram of nectar inside the hive each day, yeah, all the bees going out, and they do not interest for hygienic behavior, brood behavior. They're not interest for the queen. They interest for nothing, only for one thing, for the nectar. Bring the nectar inside, yeah. And yeah, you have to see that you make the test before the big nectar flow start. This is the best way, I think. Yeah. Also, some guys here, the cleaning agent, be using only isopropanol. It's alcohol, 75%. It's very, very important that you don't use 100% alcohol because you need the water that the alcohol can go inside the cell. Otherwise, when you using higher alcohol level, der Alkohol verdampft, bevor er die
Evaporates.
Zellwand zerstören kann.
Mm.
Ja, genau.
Yeah.
Und do not using also the spiritus, yeah, der gall substances inside, and then you make the test for the gall substances and not for the hygienic behavior. No? And you have to also look for other stress factors, especially the heat. Yeah, I see it one time. I make a second test in a year for a colony. Sometimes I do also 2 to 3 tests for one colony to look how they react over the year. And I know in the first test they show 100% of the hygienic behavior. I do the second test in the heat and they show nothing, 0% in 3 days. Yeah. And after then come a period of rain, all the bees go inside the hive and then they clean it in 3 hours. All the test was clean. Yeah. But 3 days, nothing because of the temperature. Also the night temperature was in this year over 27 degrees. All the bees sit outside, yeah. And this is a stress factor, yeah. And also the other thing is when the varroa pressure or also the virus pressure is too high, they make a panic behavior. And it can show you falsche Resultate. Ne?
Wrong results, yeah, later.
Ja, wrong results, genau. Yeah. When you have too much varroa, the panic behavior, this is the thing. And also when you have a long-term disease in the colony, the bees can learning to do hygienic behavior. And they do it in that moment very, very fast. Maybe in 3 hours, yeah. And this is also a thing when you say, okay, I would like to have hygienic behavior in 3 hours. Yeah. Like here in the moment is a big discussion in Germany. People are very proud. Or my bees are showing hygienic behavior 100% in 3 hours. And then I say, okay, maybe it's a danger result. The bee colony is sick all over the time, and they have to remove and cleaning all over the time, and they're learning it very, very fast. Yeah, because I have colonies where I do not treatment, and I see they start cleaning after 6 to 7 hours. They start cleaning and they are finished in 24 hours. Yeah, and not in 3 hours. And 5 years before, I do a selection for colonies, for selected colonies with doing hygienic behavior in 3 hours. And 70% of that colonies die in June. Because all the colonies was sick from viruses. We make a test later with PCR. they were sick all the time, and they do hygienic behavior. They can do it by genetic disposition, disposition, and but they do have very, very fast hygienic behavior because they are very, very sick. Yeah, and the bees have that learning effect, and they remove all the pupas in 3 hours, and this selection was wrong. Yeah, okay. This is die Erklärung, die Anna,
Explanation.
die
The explanation.
explanation of that, what it happens. Yeah, this is a study from a German scientist called Kaspar Schöning. He do this study in 2012. And what he do is, we don't infect the Varroa mite with virus, yeah, but we do one time we check single mite infection. You see it here on the left side. You open a cell after 2 to 3 hours after closing. You reopen the cell and put Varroa mite inside, and then you close the cell. Yeah, we do it one time. Was very, very funny, but this is what these scientists do. But before, in the incubator, he infect the Varroa mite with a virus DVV, also deformed wing virus type B, deformed wing virus type I, and then he have Varroa mite without virus. And all these Varroa mite he put inside WSH colonies. All the 3 types of Varroa mite with B, A, and no virus, he put in the same colony. And what he see is that the bees can do WSH, remove 63% of the Varroa mites who has deformed wing virus type B. The same colony remove only 14% of the Varroa mite in the same time who has deformed wing virus type A. And only 0.4% of the Varroa mite was removed by the bees have no virus. That means, Anna, das muss man jetzt ganz klar erzählen.
Ja.
Ne? Je höher das Level der Krankheit,
The higher the level of the disease is,
die Varroa-Milbe mit dem Virus in die Puppe injiziert,
the higher the level of the diseases the Varroa mite injects into the cell.
ne?
And then that,
Desto schneller wird diese Puppe beräumt, weil
the
diese Puppe
quicker
nicht
the
mehr,
pupa gets cleaned out.
weil diese Puppe oder diese Biene, die daraus entsteht, nicht mehr, sage ich mal, zum Nutzen der Kolonie tätig sein kann.
Because the pupa that would result, or the bee that would result out of this pupa, is not for any use for the colony, and the worker bees, they can already sense that. And that's why they're cleaning them out.
Deswegen wird diese Puppe eben schnell rausgeräumt. Bei dem Typ A ist not so virulent, ne?
And that's
deswegen
why
wird
the
die
bee
nicht
is
so viel
getting cleaned out very quickly, whilst A has lower levels. The bees can't detect that quickly, I guess, Lutz?
Nee, das ist nicht so virulent, ist nicht so gefährlich. Die Biene,
Yeah,
die dann
and it's not-
später mit dem Typ A infiziert ist, die kann noch Nutzen der Kolonie bringen. Es geht
okay.
hierbei um den Nutzen,
I see.
den die Biene, die nach der Infektion mit dem Virus noch der Kolonie bringt. Dementsprechend wird geräumt, weil
Okay.
die Varroa-Milbe ohne Virus wird akzeptiert.
Yeah. Okay, so it's all about the use for the colony. So pupas infected with the bee are no use at all. So they get cleaned out at all completely. The ones with the deformed wing virus type A are for some use because they are probably not that malformed, or can still do some kind of tasks, whilst varroas without any viruses kind of get accepted by bees and by colonies. And why is that, Lutz? Warum ist das
This
so?
is no problem, yeah, because there's no colony in the world who die on the Varroa mite.
It's just because of the virus.
It's because of the virus. Yeah. And bees can handle the Varroa mite when, for instance, you have freedom of brood. Yeah. Also in the winter time like this, or after a swarming. yeah, then the level of cleaning of the bees is high, very, very high, and they clean all the varroa mites out, and they can stay alive, yeah, and they can downsize the varroa level without the virus by themselves, it's no problem. But when the virus, when the varroa mite has a virus, then comes a problem, yeah, and das Zusammenspiel von Virus und Varroa-Milbe, das ist das, was das Ganze gefährlich macht, ja.
Yeah, the level between, or the balance between the virus and the varroa mite is really making or breaking it.
Okay, and you can, when it doesn't work, but you can shot the QR code here, and you can read the report, the science paper by yourself, and we can discuss it later. But I try since, also I call also with the leader of the institute, Elke Ginersch, she called, and also called with Kaspar Schöning, all the people who select for varroa resistant bees, they ignore the viruses. And this, I think it's a big, big, big mistake when we do this. When we checking also like hygienic behavior, looking for, oh, look, my bees doing hygienic behavior after 3 hours. Very, very nice. But they do it because the damage of the brood is so high and they learn it so long time that they do it very, very fast. The colonies I have, they stay alive 3 years without treatment, with doing nothing. They start removing the cells the most of the time after 6 to 7 hours. Yeah. Maybe there's also another point, like here on that slide. They also removed the cells very, very fast when all the drones, in that case, we have only 43% of the drones have the hygienic behavior here on the outer circle. When all the drones have the character of hygienic behavior, or like these single insemination or 3 drone inseminated queens, they are also removed very, very fast. But this is when the bees remove the damaged cells in a short time. It's 2 possibilities: high level of disease pressure, or high level of the genetic in the sperm. Yeah, also many of them have this character. Okay, after we know that, also this is a story behind with a guy we select for a private fecundation place 70 colonies with 3-hour removement after the test, and 50 of them are dying. Yeah, in June, in the middle of the season. Yeah, it's like the colony CCD. Yeah, they going. But there, and then we take samples of the bees and send it to the laboratory. Also we take the bees out in the cups and do it frozen by CO2 and send it in the laboratory. And then we get PCR. They make PCR for deformed wing virus, for chronic paralysis virus, for nosema, and for varroa. And it was all in the colonies was a high level. Yeah. And also these colonies have a very fast movement of the hygienic behavior test, of the pin test. Yeah, that means you have to see the relationships between the things. This is what I like to say, what is important. Yeah, for the drone lines, and also for the mothers, we make the hygienic behavior test. We're looking for the varroa mites, and we check the virus in the end of the season, not in the beginning of the season after the winter, because all the colonies put the sick bees out over the winter. Then you have a healthy colony in the springtime. When you would like to find damages, you have to look in Europe is July, August, September. Yeah, make a check the PCR in that time.
I think we might go back and revisit that a bit later, Lutz. There's been a bit of discussion about priming that we've had a bit lately between quite a few of us, which is what you're talking about there. We call it priming. So It's when a colony has some sort of disease or something which is making it react quicker to a hygienic test. There is something we see in the bees there as well, and you can also see it in when people take photos of bees that are under varroa stress. They'll have lots of uncapped cells, and you can't, to me, by looking at them, you could have a VSH bee because there's lots of uncapping, or you could have a colony succumbing to varroa and its viruses because it has lots of uncapping. And without quantifying what we're seeing with some sort of test or pulling the pupae out to see if it's over-infected or whitewashing it or something, it's hard to tell where we're sitting.
Really. Let me finish. I come back to that because this is my central thing. Yeah. Okay. Here we see pictures from test results. Yeah, 2 colonies, a sister group, Sararensis-based Buckfast, before the selection for the drone line in 2000, I think 2022. Okay. Example number 342 and 460. I do the pin test. After 6 hours is a picture of the 342 like this, maybe 10% open. Yeah, okay. But the 426, it's more than 50% is open. Yeah. And on the next step, after 24 hours, it's like the same result. Here you see some closed cells. Maybe it's a bee there is too old or stuff like this. Yeah, okay. But the result is around over 90%. Yeah, 6 hours, 24 hours. So the thing is, the colony 460 have a spring honey of 120 kilograms. Was unbelievable. Yeah, springtime honey after we collect 10 frames of brood and lot of bee in May, and in June after the collection of the honey 8 frames of brood but no bees. There was dead. Yeah, then we make the test of the PCR and we see high level of deformed wing virus type B. Yeah, this colony show in the first moment in the springtime very nice results, very good hygienic behavior, very nice honey production, lot of brood, lot of bee, and then collapse. The other one, the 342, stay alive for 3 winters without treatment. And they have a balance between brood, food, and bees. And I never do treatment in that colony. No? But I would like to say here, the things, what we see is not everything. We have to look deeper inside. Yeah, we have to ask other questions too. Yeah, this is also an example. It's a 2019 drone colony, Monticola-based Buckfast, unbelievable colony. Here's the queen excluder, and they make a lot of honey. And I never feed them, but they show me these results when I do the pin test there. They start cleaning after 8 to 12 hours and finish in 24 hours. All the time. I do 4, 5 times the pin test there. Yeah. And then I start asking me questions. Yeah. What happens there? Why they are not so fast? Yeah. Like people here in Germany, they want, or we would like to have cleaning in 2 hours. Yeah. I'm the champion now. I have a 2-hour cleaning. Yeah. But my champions make over, in all the time, over 300 kilograms of honey. I never feed, I never treat, I do nothing, no swarm, nothing. Yeah, gentle, and deliver very nice drones, deliver very nice larvae. Have other characters show me in the pin test. Yeah. also the other thing, when time before we do artificial infection of colonies with varroa mites, yeah, in one colonies we producing varroa mites, and then we do infection in the one drone inseminated colonies, yeah, and look to measure the WSH character or SMR character, yeah. But when you don't know that the varroa mite is infected with a virus, you don't know what, also when you don't have the information about that, then the result what you get out when they cleaning it very, very fast, it show you a different result. Yeah. When you have a colony can stay alive by themselves, by herself alone, and you put varroa mites inside without a virus, yeah, it's no problem for the colony. And when you put the varroa mite inside with a virus, yeah, then remove very, very fast, yeah. And you think, okay, it's good. They remove very, very fast the varroa mites, but it's not the varroa mite what they remove the pressure of the virus. And when you have not artificial infection, when you have natural infection by varroa mites, then this is also a different thing, yeah, because of the apoptosis. When you make artificial infection with a varroa mite here, and also bees go out with a varroa mite, and you see lower level then when you count and the brood later, ja. Okay, Anna, war das ein bisschen verständlich jetzt im Moment gerade? Ich höre dich nicht. Ja?
Yeah, it was all very clear.
Okay, good.
Don't ask me if I understood.
Yeah, but this is very, very tricky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
but
no, yeah, it is
but
tricky.
for, because I stopped the artificial infection with varroa mites because of the scientific paper. Yeah.
Mm.
When you don't know the level of virus in the varroa mite, you see nothing. Yeah, and you don't know why the bees remove. Yeah. Okay. Then we have also pitfalls and traps. There was one guy, llamas and the flores. They say hygienic behavior is not good for the bees because they put, when they remove the pupa, they put the virus and all the things in all over the colony. Yeah, and but here also when we work with scientists, we have to understand. Scientists put a frame, an infected frame of brood inside the colony. Yeah, and then the bees do the hygienic behavior, and for sure, by the removement, and also they eat the pupa. Yeah. Sometimes the cannibalism is that then they put all the viruses in the trophallaxis and infected other bees. Yeah, but when it's a natural infection comes from outside, the bees, when they can do hygienic behavior, they remove the first beginning of the infection very, very fast. Yeah, and what this science paper say, do not put one frame to another colony, from one colony to another colony. Do not do this, yeah, because you can infect another colony. You can downsize the power of the colony when you put another frame inside there, yeah. And pupal cannibalism, it's true, also it's, yes, it exists, but it's not a problem when the infection comes from outside, no. Also, the influence of the hemolymph, it's in the end of the 90s, have no, because when you put the needle inside, you put some hemolymph outside then, but it's no problem for the hygienic behavior test. No? And this is also the very, very nice scientific paper from Marla Spivak. I like it very much, from all the history to the future. Very nice view. No? Okay, the cleaning of the pin test is very easy. Here I do it with Giacomo Acerbi, an Italian reproducer. Using alcohol, like I say, only 75%, and then evaporation for 3 minutes, then you can use it again. Yeah, and then it's very, very fast using the pin test. No. Okay, my history, we start this, we put frames inside, frozen frames inside colonies to check it. No. Like here, the drone line 2016, we killed a brood by CO2, frozen brood, little ones, and put it in the colonies and check the hygienic behavior. Where it comes from, little few from the history here. It's 1937, yeah. They detect first time hygienic behavior when they see American foul brood resistant colonies, yeah. American foul brood resistant colonies have hygienic behavior and have no American foul brood. Yeah, they find this character of bees in 1937. Yeah, and then Woodrow Holtz 42. They use prussic acid frozen brood, make the test. Then Rothenbuhler 62. He make the confirmation and the description. L. Root 66 also find that colonies are resist against European foul brood, have hygienic behavior. 83 child brood, and the 1986 come the first time the pin kill test. Yeah, and then Mahler Spivak 1996 find connection between hygienic behavior and varroa resistant bees. What I would like to say is that we all know that for more than 80 years, I write it here again, 80 years is acknowledgement. Yeah, we know that hygienic behavior in colonies is very, very important. But we ignore this. Also, I learned a total new in beginning of 2000. We ignore this in the selection for the honeybees for decades. Yeah, and when we go back now that we can find mothers and fathers with these characters, we go very, very fast forward also in getting better bees. Yeah. Okay, this is all what you need for the pin test. It's quasi the pin test, a sponge, then the Tupperware where you put it inside with the alcohol, a paint marker, a note paper, and mobile camera. And yeah, when you have no documentation, really good. In the beginning, I do documentation here on the top of the hive on the Deckel. No, it's okay. Also, when you can use it also by natural building frames. When you remove the needles a little bit for 45 degrees, yeah, it's possible also that you can check natural frames. No, also the application is very, very fast and easy. Align, fix, press in. No, and then outline, mark the frame, and then put number of the colony on the little note of paper and make a photo. And 6 hours later, you make a photo. When it's removed over 50%, you don't need to do 24 hours later. You know it's enough. Yeah, as a 6 hours test is very, very important. Also, this is a little bit strange. We see wax plate production. they make mistakes sometimes. Yeah, that's why I remove 45 degrees the needles. You see here, it's also der Abstand zwischen den Nadeln.
The distance between the cells.
It's total exact 5.4 millimeters. Yeah, and also this wax plate is 5.4 millimeters, but it's not producing total exact. Yeah, that's why. Sometimes it's good when you make 45 degrees drehen und sowas. No? Und dann
turning it at an angle. Yeah.
Yeah. We checking after 6 hours and maximal 24 hours. And also when the colonies do in 36 hours only 30% of hygienic behavior, we know some of the genetic is inside. And you can go forward in the next generation. You're using drones who deliver the hygienic behavior, but you have to do a bigger number of F1, also of Translav, yeah, when you have only the 30%. In the moment on our fecundation places in the island of Rügen in the Baltic Sea. We have 8 from 10 queens we produce deliver 100% the hygienic behavior. Yeah. Okay, this is yeah, this is a part of my job. It's a genetic planning. The B is for Buckfast. 174 is for the number of the hive. And the TR or LE, this is the breeder code. This is Thomas Rüppel, is an old breeder here in Germany. He learned by brother Adam, and I get a queen from him, put them 2 times on other fecundation places, 3 times. And then I find one colony, the B38, and then I split this colony into 3 sublines and make different fecundation and stop. In one moment, I stop treatment, and then I make this one drone insemination, and then I produce the 4 to 9 for a drone line, like you showed before, the homozygotic drone line. Yeah, perfect, unbelievable, but the time you need to do this is 8 to 12 years per line to find a good result. And then you start again from the beginning. Okay, good. The thing is, when we record hygienic behavior, varroa or vitality or honey yield, swarming, gentleness, or the relationship between food, brood, and bees, yeah, this is the only thing. Put all the relationships together to have also eine wirkliche Übersicht. Das ist nicht nur eine Sache, die wir uns angucken müssen, sondern wir müssen die ganzen Sachen uns
Not just a
angucken.
single thing. You need to overlook at the everything. Focus on everything, because it's each part forms a piece of the big picture, basically.
Yeah, and this is what we want, is to see a movie, like a cinema movie. Yeah, 1.5 hour, a cinema movie. This is what we want. But when we do a pin test or when we do a varroa test one time, this is from that movie, 1.5 hour movie, only one picture on 1 second, and this second have 24 pictures. And we do only one picture from this second, from the 1.5 hour movement when we do one test. Means we have to do a lot of tests, we have to check a lot of results, a lot of relationships to get a part of the movie. Yeah. Like this is what you say before, 2 colonies, yeah. The brood nest is okay. Many holes inside, yeah. Many empty
Pepper brood,
yeah, cells. And but on the left side, this is a colony who also alive 2 winters, also die in the 3rd winter, but not because of the varroa, because of the power of the queen. Yeah, was finished. The sperm was finished. But and this colony die after 1 year. But what you see here is not so much bees. Yeah, this is a relationship between brood, bees, and the food. What we are looking for in the moment as the most important thing. Yeah, we have the character of removement, but this on the right side is a panic removement. On the left side, it's total okay, because you have the bees here. Yeah. Other thing is, there was a time where I, when the colonies come back from the fecundation place, I open all the cells in the brood frame to look how much varroa is inside the cell. I have 1 colony. At the end of the year, 3 brood frames, and I open these brood frames. but what I see was, I call it partielles Zählen.
Oh, I don't know what potential
Also
is.
ich unterteile, pass auf, Anna, ich unterteile
ja.
den Brutrahmen in Teil, also in Teile,
So he's
in Parts.
splitting the brood comb in different parts, and then he's counting
Genau.
in each part. No?
Genau.
Ja.
Vorne und hinten. Ne?
On both
So,
sides, of
und
course.
and I find, it's only an example now, I find in this part no varroa mite. I find in this part a lot of varroa mites do not reproducing. I find in this part a lot of varroa mites reproducing. And then on the back side, I find parts where 3 varroa mites was inside in one cell. Yeah. That means also here, when we count varroa mite in brood frames, and then we look only to that part here, maybe we find really, really good results for WSH or SMR in that case, yeah, as a suppressed bite reproduction in that. When we look only here, we find no varroa mites, yeah, and I think there is, es gibt viele, viele Möglichkeiten, sage ich mal, die dieses Zählverhalten beeinflussen. Also es gibt viele Möglichkeiten,
There are lots of
die
opportunities.
die Varroa beeinflussen und auch die Bienen beeinflussen, warum sie die Varroa-Räume, warum da Varroen drin sind oder nicht. Und wenn wir immer nur auf einen Teil gucken, kriegen wir auch nur ein Ergebnis, aber wir kriegen nie
Yeah.
das gesamte Ergebnis.
So there are lots of reasons why varroa can be in there, but we shouldn't just focus on one thing. We should see all of the whole spectrum and always question, why is it there? Why is it not on the other side? Or why is it in different states?
Genau. Ja, und also that it was important for me very over 4 years I do this job, open all the brood combs, the cells, put all the varroa all the pupa out, but in the moment it's not so important, more than important for me. Yeah, the varroa. There are other things I come in the last slide on that. Huh? Okay, but what we do for sure, we read the floor tray and document this, yeah. But also here, you have a colony. In one day, you find no varroa on it, yeah. And the next day, for example, the next day, you go and find 500 varroa mites on the floor tray, yeah. Normally, the people say, oh, there are 500 varroa mites now on the floor tray, I have to treat. And I say, no, stop. We have to take a next step in looking inside the brood, looking inside the bees. Yeah, maybe on that colony is no brood and no varroa mites on the bees. Yeah, with alcohol wash test. Yeah, then it's a very, very good sign when I find on the floor tray 500 varroa mites, because there was maybe an infection from outside, and because the bees going out, robbery, another colony come back, and then they clean. And all the 500 mites fall down, yeah? But no brood inside, the colony is healthy, okay. No varroa on the bees, okay, yeah? That means you can't say, okay, one in Germany, oh, what I can do, or what I need to do when I find 5 varroa mites in the end of October. So then they say, oh, you have to treat, absolutely. And acid, put it inside, stuff like that. No, no, you have to watch as the next step. No? And also when I do this, it's very, very fast. Also, I have, das sind Enthaarungswachsstreifen.
These are waxing sheets, like for
Yeah.
the herring, yeah?
Yeah.
Very
I cut
clever,
them in
Lutz,
the middle.
very clever, I like that.
Yeah, I cut it in the middle, and I have a definition of size. No? I put it on the brood frame. Then I have here the red one. This is such a heating
A heat gun?
thing, yeah? A heat gun. And then I connect the box stripe and the brood box together, let them cool, yeah? and then I can chuck open very, very fast, and then I can put this pincette, the pupa, tuck, 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 tuck out, and yeah, 2 minutes, and I can take a look inside each frame and see are there varroa mites inside or not. Yeah, and this I do on different parts of the colony when I check the colony. Yeah, okay. All the things after I start doing selection in 2015. It's now, yeah, 2014. What I see, especially in the last years, when also Buckfast breeding is like I say, not Buckfast bee is not a genetic definition bee. It's definition by characters. Yeah, and we have in Buckfast breeding, we, like Brother Adam show us, we go around the world, like South Africa, like Central Africa, like Turkey, like Iran, everywhere. We find very, very nice bees with very, very nice characters. And then we bring them and maintain this character in the connection with Buckfast bee. Yeah. And I get 2 years before a combination from a very, very fresh Turkish Anatolian bee with a scutellata from South Africa. Very, very nice. So high vitality in that bees. And that colony also stay alive for 3 years, 2 winters without treatment. And I never see so much varroa mites inside a colony. And that means that colony stay alive because they have a high vitality and they can accept a lot of varroa mites. What we do is we looking for colonies have no varroa mites. But what I start is I'm looking for colonies who has a lot of varroa mites and still alive. It's a other possibility by nature to handle the varroa mite. Yeah, and one part of the this thing is the vitality of the genetic for sure, are also the vitality of the queen. When we can produce high quality queens in a physical very, very high condition, can laying a lot of eggs and all that stuff. Yeah, bees can ersetzen also die Verluste können sie ersetzen sozusagen.
They
Na, also
replace all the bees that have died and all the brood that has gone.
No, but von der Power von der Königin. Ne? This is one of the part of the 5 pillars of the varroa resistance, in my opinion, is the physical condition of the queen. The next part is the genetic for sure, especially the genetic of the drones. We have to take more focus for the drones. Yeah. The next thing, this is what we doing for the last 2 years. The beehive economics, I call it. Yeah, is the energy and the CO2 level in the colony. Here in Germany, in Europe, we work with an open floor, Boden, yeah, floor.
An open floor, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
also
only
the floor,
meshing.
Genau, there's only. But when we take a look in books for 100 years ago, they have to say, okay, the colony has to be warm, protection by sun, isolation, insulation, yeah,
Insulation,
and close.
yes.
Yeah, and close, because there's also a science paper, when the CO2 level in the colony is higher than normal outside, when the temperature is higher, when the moisture is lower and total controlled by the bees, the varroa mite have not so much possibility to reproduce. This is one thing, yeah. This is by the CO2 level, and our hives, they are open in the floor and a lot of holes sometimes inside and all that stuff, yeah. And bees have to put a lot of energy to control the temperatures, the CO2 level, and the moisture in the colony. And when you see where the Varroa mites love to reproduce, ist im Randbereich, da wo es quasi kalt und feucht ist.
They like to reproduce on the corners where it's cold and a bit more drafty.
Genau, the Varroa mite. Ja, genau.
Yeah.
Ne? Okay, and then also a part, the pillar of Varroa resistance is the fat body, also the condition of the fat body, and it's very close to the nutrition. Yeah, like pure sugar feeding destroy the stomach of the bee and destroy also the fat body. The bee has to also den umwandeln, den Zucker in verwertbares Futter für die anderen Bienen.
The process of basically, let's say the whole sentence. Kannst du den ganzen Satz sagen?
Wenn die Bienen das Zuckerwasser in verwertbares Futter umwandeln müssen,
Ja.
kostet das so viel Energie, dass sie diese Energie von ihrem Fat Body nehmen müssen
Ah, okay.
und dadurch ganz kurze Lebensleistung haben.
So-
Lebenserwartung.
Yeah, because if you feed sugar water and bees take that in and basically form it to food to feed it other bees as well, this process takes so much energy that basically energy from the fat body, the hemolymph, is also taken for this action.
Ja.
Mm.
And that's why we put in the sugar amino acid inside. Yeah, that is direct going to the fat body and push the fat body of the bee. No problem. Yeah. And also this is about the mitochondrial stuff, the reduction of or the freedom of stress is when you think about when you have big nectar flow, this is a stress factor for the bees. Yeah, because they all go out and collect honey or nectar in that case. Yeah, it's okay. They do it because they know we have enough food for the rest of the year. Yeah, but when you open a hive, when you take the honey off, you make stress. When you open the hive and open the brood, den Brutkörper,
Just the brood space, yeah. If you
Yeah.
open the hive and the brood.
you make a lot of stress, and there are other stress factors like poison in agriculture, like predators, natural predators, all that, and all the stress cost living energy by the bees. Yeah, and all this new thinking, in my opinion, of beekeeping praxis. Yeah, it's only possible when you have a good financial situation in your AQBA, also in your beekeeping company, when you have a good marketing as a foundation, because also selection you have to pay. Yeah, that's not possible. It's not possible to produce a good queen under 30 euro, only for the production in Europe. Yeah, for sure. There are some guys, they produce queens for 8 euro, but they do not selection. They do not look other things, how to get a good physical condition of the queen. Very, very good. That the queen have a Lebenserwartung von 4 years.
The life expectancy. And I think this is about 70 Australian dollars, 30 euros,
Ja.
roundabout.
Ja, genau. Also that means when the beekeeper get enough money for the honey, then he can get pay or invest also in the queens and the bees, in the freedom of stress and all that. Yeah, but for this we need good honey prices, and this is what we're fighting for in the moment here. Yeah, and okay. I will be very happy when we meet us this year in Denmark and then can drink coffee and a beer. I have a stand, it's number B11 on the Apimondia in Copenhagen, have an airport, it's no problem, yeah. And then we can following this very nice discussion. And ich möchte Danke sagen für die Einladung nochmal. Also ich freue mich total gefreut, dass wir es geschafft haben, aus
I
so
want to say
vielen
thank you for
Teilen
the
der Welt
invitation. I'm
hier alle
really happy to be
zusammenzubringen.
here. It's really great to see people from, well, a lot of continents coming together tonight.
Genau, und jetzt bin ich soweit am Ende und bin
And now
offen
I'm
für Fragen.
finished and I'm ready for your questions.
I'd just like to say thanks for your time, Lutz. I really appreciate it. I think that I gained quite a bit out of it. I really did. Probably taught me some great lessons and some stuff that I've read as well. That, let's say, I didn't question enough. I took a lot into your questioning in that. Looks like we've got a few questions in the chat here. I originally put one in about the influencing factors, which is the nectar flow variations and timing. When you talked about that a little bit, Lutz, you said that there could be too much nectar flow. Is that's for an effective hygiene result? Would you say that does that have a particular flow over there that gives that a particular species of tree or a timing of year that you have an excessive nectar flow?
Anna, kannst du das mal übersetzen?
Sie haben sich jetzt nur gefragt, also er fragte jetzt, ob es einen bestimmten Baum gibt oder eine bestimmte Zeit, wo es in Deutschland diesen übermäßigen Nektarfluss gibt, weil ich glaube, dass jemand oder ursprünglich die Frage war, warum denn so viel Nektarfluss auch das Verhalten stören kann. Aber die eigentliche Frage war, welche Baumarten und welche Saison.
Okay, we have very, very different areas in Germany. Normally, when you have good spaces, you can produce im Durchschnitt
On average?
100 to 150 kilogram per colony. In the peak, 220 kilogram is possible too. Honey.
But also why, Paul, was that more related to the trees and the species of it, or why much honey flow can also restrict, obviously, the social brood behavior because they're out and about getting honey and putting it from one to another cell. So what was
die Kolonien, also die Bienenvölker bauen sich auf mit der Weide und dem schon, aber dann im Apfel, sag ich mal, ne? Na, dann kommt der Raps. Du hast am Raps wir haben jetzt Rapsernte von 130 Kilogramm, Frühjahrsblütenernte.
Okay, so let's just say, for example, is very, very big in Germany, but we also have apple trees, quite a few. Lutz, what else?
Aber dann kommt der Raps. Also ich weiß nicht, wie Raps auf Englisch heißt.
Rapeseed.
Genau. Und dann kommt die Robinie. Die ist auch, also dieses Jahr ist die brutal, die war letztes Jahr gar nicht.
The Rubio tree, I'm not quite sure. I would need to look up what that is. It's probably a European tree you wouldn't have in Australia.
Ja, und dann kommt die Linde, also drei verschiedene Lindenarten, ne? Die knallt auch nochmal richtig rein, ja. Und dann haben wir so Spezialtrachten wie Wald oder sowas, also das ist dann Laushonig, ne?
Forest honey, for example, is also very big, yeah.
Also es gibt wirklich, also das ist wirklich Druck, sage ich mal, ne? Für die Bienen, wo sie sehr viel Flugtätigkeit machen müssen und dadurch aber auch sehr viel Lebensenergie verlieren.
Yeah, and that's where the bees lose the most energy as well, because when there is that forage on, obviously they go out. It's not just the time they lose for the hygienic behavior, it's also the energy they lose. If that answers the question, Paul.
Because they have to reproduce.
If not, just interrupt us, otherwise we'll keep talking. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Did you want to say something, Stefan?
I want to ask him something about single drone inseminations. If you have a queen and she doesn't show all that you want to see there, but you get the idea there is there is probably a drone there that had put your hygienic behavior into that queen, but it doesn't show strong enough, and you decide to do single drone inseminations. How many queens would you inseminate from that queen as a minimum?
25.
35? Did you say
No, 25.
25?
25.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is and yeah, but it's you have I run I think in moment 7 basic lines with something sublines there, and yeah, you get numbers then numbers and then you have to test. This is the job you have to do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Ja.
Ich sag vielen Dank.
Sehr schön, Stephen. The thing is, by the genetic, by the mathematics, you have 65,000, more than 65,000 possibilities of the split of the mother genetic. And then plus 20 times 65,000 possible splits by the drones also. Yeah, you have millions of possibility in combination in the normal queen colony. Yeah. And the single drone insemination helps us to find one thing, yeah, very good, and stabilize it. But you lose the vitality then, and you have to go out and make then a natural fecundation on the isolated place. Then. Absolute, yeah. Otherwise, you lose a lot of vitality.
I know. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, here, but
I just want to echo Paul's sentiment that this is really a great presentation, and I appreciate a lot of what you're saying. You know, I hear a lot of myself in what you're saying. You're reflecting a lot of my my thoughts on many different points. I did want to mention, I think one of the benefits of using the 6-hour mark or the 8-hour mark on the pin test, or using thin needles, making sure you have thin pins, or using something like UBO, is you're really selecting for something very sensitive. I think there's definitely this priming effect where if you have a high disease level, you're going to see a stronger hygienic response. And you're going to see that fast hygiene. You referred to it as learning, but I think it's actually recruitment. So you can recruit more and more individuals to perform that hygienic behavior in response to a strong disease. But if they're not very, very sensitive in terms of their olfactory ability, you're not going to have that genetics that you want to breed. So you can see the hygienic response if there's a strong stimulus without having the genetics that you want of the high sensitivity. So that's the advantage, I think, of doing what you're doing and waiting for that 6 to 8 hour mark and using the thin pins. But thank you very much. This has been a really great presentation. I appreciate it.
yeah, thank you, Kyra. That's good.
I hope that you source yourself some UBO after this, Lutz, and give it a go. I think there's some great things that could come out of both. And I look forward to running the pin tests and UBO side by side, because I think that really the more measures we do, the better the results are going to be. And I think that's something that I really got from you with your presentation. Was at no point did I hear you say the pin test was the be all and the end all. You were checking for varroa, you're pin testing, you're quantifying and doing everything you can to find the best result from a variety of sources to make it unique. And I think that's actually probably one of the best overviews I've seen from anyone across the world, where you've got such an open mind, and not just that, but being willing to share with us is yeah, that's great. Thanks very much, Lutz.
Okay, good. Then
I think we've got another participant here that you'll like to hear from. That'll be yours, Corinne.
Thank you. Hi, Lutz. That was a
Hi.
great presentation, raised lots of questions, particularly about the interaction between diseases and the pin test. So that's something that I've been wanting to look into over here, but we can't actually get any of the virus testing panels that we would like to get done in Australia at the moment. So it's very frustrating. But my question for you was earlier on in the presentation, you talked about the temperature, and I think you said the overnight temperature was 27 degrees, and that shut down the hygienic behavior in the bees. Is that in Fahrenheit or Celsius?
No?
That's in Celsius. And it's probably not the temperature that it shut down. It was probably because the bees weren't in the hive, I think.
Die waren erst die ganze Zeit draußen und dann erst, als es geregnet hat, sind die alle
Yeah,
reingegangen.
so because it was that hot, they all kind of
Hanging
outside
out.
the house. Yeah, outside the hive, and then it started raining, and then they all came in, and this is when they continued with the social.
Yeah.
hygienic
And also
behavior.
maybe when Paul maybe remember we stay in contact, yeah. But we checking now a fast test for the DBV DW, also DBV Type B. Also there's a company here. I meet them in the Eurobee in the last ferry. They make a very fast test where you can do it by yourself. It's not super 100%, but it can give you a direction. It costs not so much. Metacore is a company. Metacore is a company who build fast test. And the other way, it's for sure, but I have to fight with other selectors here for 5 years. But now the government pay us the test because it's important. Yeah.
Thank you for that. I'll get those details off you.
Yeah, that was of great interest, Lutz. Thank you. We do have quite a few questions here in the side panel. So we've got one from Robin there, which says, did I understand that the CO2 levels impede varroa production? So maybe we should be using enclosed hives rather than screen bottom boards to support the bees in creating a favorable environment. I think this comes back to a little bit of the screen bottom board, sealed top. What do they call that?
Ja. Hast du verstanden, Lutz?
Nein, nein.
So der Teilnehmer hat gefragt, wenn die CO2-Level dazu führen, dass die Varroa sich nicht weiter reproduziert, dann sollten wir ja alle geschlossene Hives mit, also Beuten mit zu einem Boden nehmen, oder nicht? And it's really funny because this is a big thing Lutz is preaching about, but go ahead.
Yeah, this is in the last 2 years we work with a little group. I make a workshop. Also I say, okay, guys, ladies, also we have a lady, that's very good. You pay me money and I give you work. It's a workshop. You can buy some work in my house. And I find some people who give me the money and I give them the work, what they have to do and what they have to measure. And it's
a scientific workshop, basically.
Yeah, but we are beekeepers. We are not scientists. Yeah, we are beekeepers and we do what we can do, but we are also like in the brain Tüftler, no? So, und we make, this is also a normal queen, total normal buy on the market, but we make optimize the beehive with closed, total closed, and then the fly entry is 15 centimeters from the ground level of the hive. That when also dass man unten noch einen Sack hat, also so eine Art Luftpuffer, Speichersack sozusagen.
You have it below the ground, so you have kind of an air buffer that is between ground and the hive itself.
Yeah. And total close. Also we looked at this really total close. And the interesting thing is also by heat, no bees come out. No bee come out. No Varroa mites. No Varroa mites. Also
So they can regulate everything a lot better if there is not a constant draft that's coming in from below, except the flight hole itself. So this is what the workshop group has found out, that a closed hive is actually.
But now, like, because we have to reproduce in higher, also in größeren Anzahlen. Das waren nur 2 Leute, die das gemacht haben. Ne? Jetzt müssen wir das reproduzieren, gucken, ob das wirklich sich wiederholt.
Only 2 people have created this, so now they have to reproduce also, well, the results obviously to make it presentable.
Genau. Also wir machen hier schon semi-wissenschaftliche Arbeit, ja. Aber wir können jetzt nicht sagen, mach den Boden zu und du hast keine Probleme.
So this is why he corrected me in the beginning. It's only half scientific study work they do here in this workshop on this topic, because as beekeepers you have a certain limit what you can work in on scientific rules, but it's certainly a start and gives the right direction just to look out for. So they can't say close the floor or have a open flooring. It's not yet too said.
Not yet.
No, not yet. There will be some results in the future.
Yeah, we are on it and we looking forward for the next winter period. But what we see is we downsize total the feed what the bees need. We also with a good genetic insight. We have no losses from, also less than 5% bees fall down over the winter. Also the colony, how they go in the winter, come out from the winter, unbelievable. And they start very early and they look so good and it's unbelievable. And we do not find varroa mites.
CO2 is a very beneficial factor. I actually noticed something, I think I spoke to Corinne about it the other week, that the growth of the colony, which was what I actually took from your little CO2 bit, was that it was the vitality, the vigor of that colony, the growth that was giving off excessive CO2. And I think that's the model that you're using as well, isn't it? Is that your bees are outgrowing varroa. Your bees are populating quicker.
And when the floor is open, they have put a lot of energy to have the climber in the hive constantly over the winter time, maybe. Yeah. And this energy cost. Yeah. And they can't do other things. And they burn lifetime in that moment. Yeah. They burn honey, they burn lifetime. And they can't check the varroa mite. Yeah, this is also a theory what we have, but we have to continue follow that. But there's a new book from in German, but it's based on also Armbruster's work 100 years ago. We have the same Armbruster measuring the temperature and the moisture in 100 years before, and wir haben dieselben Ausschläge, also dieselben. Du bist wieder leise, Anna. Du bist leise, Anna.
Yeah, say it again, please, Lutz.
Ja, du hast doch dann, wenn du so eine Temperaturkurven, wenn du das misst, dann hast du doch so eine Übersicht. Ich weiß jetzt gerade nicht, wie das heißt. Ne?
So even the study 100 years ago showed the same basically intervals of the heat, or the same heat regulations, then you see the same results now.
Yeah, and when the hive is total closed, also really closed, and also only with the entry what the bees can handle very good. Yeah, the size of the entry is also important, and the position of the entry is also important. But when the hive is very close und total dicht, also keine Zugluft. Ich weiß nicht, Anna, bleib mal da, bitte. Keine
Ja.
Zugluft und
No.
die Beute ist wirklich geschlossen. Ne?
Yeah, if there's no draft and if everything's closed up, then it's a lot easier for the bees to regulate.
So. Dann hast du innen drinne einen erhöhten Luftdruck durch den
Then you have a
Stoffwechsel.
higher pressure inside through the metabolism of the bees.
Quasi die Bienen können, also es kommt keine kalte Luft eigentlich rein. Weißt du, also und die Bienen können den Luftaustausch, da gibt es auch Studien dazu, innerhalb von 30 Sekunden können 10 Bienen die komplette Luft des Bienenstocks austauschen und
So there are
regulieren.
studies that within, if there's air coming in from the outside, studies say that within 30 seconds, 10 bees can basically renew the air in the whole hive within 30 seconds. This is how quick they can do that.
The level of the energy what they have to put to a life, it's total low and they can full concentrate of make it clean, all this. Yeah, this I find it out a couple of years before when I do stop taking the honey offside the colony. Yeah, I say, okay, some colonies I do not collect the honey and I look what they do. Because what we want in selection is that we want freedom of brood early as they can. Yeah, because when freedom of brood, they have more hygienic and cleaning and grooming called. Yeah, and okay, I do not collect the honey, but I see I take off the queen excluder and the bees go, the colony go in the honey super and make a winter nest, yeah, and they
Winter
finish
cluster.
yeah, winter cluster, but it was not so. They move all the time in the winter. They make not a cluster, they move all the time in the winter, yeah, but they stop the brood in the end of June. When the nectar flow stopped, they stop the brood immediately, and I have freedom of brood. The last brood come out end of August. I have freedom of brood in that colonies from end of August to beginning of March. And there's also no possibility for the Varroa mite for reproduce, because Varroa mite need for reproduction brood. Yeah, but there's no brood. That means Varroa mite can't reproduce. And after 8 to 12 days, the Varroa mite have no can't do reproduction. They get sterile. Yeah, or they become sterile. Yeah, and then when the bees starting with the brood, the Varroa mite has to go inside, but they're cleaning all the time. They have nothing to do, only clean. And when they can clean, you have no problems with Varroa mites. But yeah, we need honey, all this. Yeah, we have to think about. We are commercial beekeepers. Good.
Sorry. Now we've got a few questions about the amino acids that you add to your sugar water. You said there was something you added.
Welche
Yeah, this
Aminosäuren
is
machst du zum Wasser?
that it's what we added is amino acid. This called the product called, it's an Austrian company produced. Be strong. Be strong.
Be Vital is the brand and Be Strong is the product. But Lutz, do you know which amino acids are in there? Because there are various ones. Oh yeah. So everyone who is interested, maybe Paul, you can.
No, there's a book from the Polish scientist Lipensky called, I think, Nutrition of the Bees.
Yeah, Lipensky.
And this Lipensky is that, no? Yeah. He look and he say, okay, when you feed, for instance, you feed with original nature pollen, yeah. The bees have to crack the pollen also die müssen den aufspalten, ihn verfügbar zu machen.
They have to split the pollen to basically, wow.
Ja, ihn verfügbar zu machen, or to use him. Ne?
Yeah, basically.
Genau. And this costs energy. So, okay, but this is a normal thing. But for this, bees have more than 15 Milchsäurebakterien.
Oh, enzymes. Let's call them enzymes.
Yeah,
It's
in the stomach. Also they have more
it's
than,
like probiotics you have in the stomachs, what they split. what they use for splitting.
And they collect this microbiological stuff when they go to the flowers. They also collect the Milchsäurebakterien, no?
The
But
probiotics.
when you the probiotic, and when you feed one time with sugar, it's like in the chemotherapy.
It's like chemotherapy. If you, well, this is very exaggerated as a view of Lutz, but if you feed with sugar water, it's basically like a chemotherapy for your bees, because you destroy the whole stomach of and gut like the gut flora in it.
Yeah.
And
And
obviously, because we know that in the stomach the immune system is created, the immune system of the bee would also suffer from the destruction that is caused by sugar feeding.
Yeah. And then when the new pollen come inside, they can't crack him. Yeah. And that's why we're using the cracked protein, the amino acid in the bee strong and from bee vital. No, it's very, very expensive, but it works unbelievable. I make tests in little Kila, also in little fecundation colonies. Yeah,
Nukes?
this is very, very
Nukes.
small hive only for fecundation. I feed with pure sugar and I feed with bee strong candy. Yeah, it's unbelievable. The size of the bees is really, really, you see it. Yeah, the fat body of the bees, the quality of the queen, all that. Yeah, this is unbelievable.
I actually, I wonder if those amino acids are linked to sunflowers. I recently got pointed in the direction that sunflowers or honeybee hives that were close to sunflower crops actually had less varroa pressure. But that was, and I believe that was due to because sunflowers aren't supposed to be that great, but they have a lot of amino acids and different things in the sunflowers that maybe that all adds up together.
Okay, good.
Numbers.
Here's noch Bus. Can you comment on nitrogen freezing in honey hygienic testing? Yeah. Nitrogen freezing, it's not sensitive. And it needs also a lot of time. Yeah. And when you use the freezing, then you are sure that the brood you freeze, it's 100% dead. And when the varroa mite is inside the brood and infect the pupa with the virus, then the varroa mite alive and the pupa alive in the moment. Yeah, but you need more sensitive, and this is by the smell. I think there's a very big potential in the UBO odor. No? Yeah, but we have to check it. Yeah, pin test, UBO, alive, also surviving colonies and all this, and we have to be patient for the results. But I'm interested into. Good. No, Kaira, yeah, this is I do not know this. I do not know how much bees are really killed by the pin test. Yeah, this is I do not know this very. No, this is the thing. No, but okay, I get from with the pin test is for me very fast to use, very easy to use, and I get results. But it's only one test. Yeah, like I say. We have to do also other tests. Yeah. Good.
Would it be fair to say, Lutz, because I'm now after your little spiel about freeze kill brood, would it be fair to say that freeze kill brood is actually dead brood and pin kill test is actually injured brood? And what we seem to be testing for with UBO is actually
sick
brood. I don't know, Kyra, but it's something different again.
Good. Yeah, I think yes, sick brood is good too. No, but
yeah, I think it's. Go ahead.
No, Kyra, please.
No, I think it's an important difference between the kill tests and something like UBO. One difference is when the brood is dead, the strength of the signal is increasing over time. So they're releasing those necromones like oleic acid, and the signal is getting stronger and stronger as the brood actually decays after its death. Whereas if the pin kill is not completely killing the brood, or if you're using something like UBO, you're actually selecting on a sick or unhealthy signal, which are actually different compounds than those dead brood signals. So I think it's a really important thing to distinguish, and that's why I was curious with these very thin pins if you're actually killing them or it's just an injury, because I would think it's a potentially stronger selection tool if they're not actually killed, but only sending that stress signal, that injury signal.
Oh, that makes me wonder, Lutz, about your purple eye pupae. Is that where the purple eye pupae is excelling a bit further, where the pin isn't killing the pupae as quickly or as severely, or yeah.
These questions or these answers are for the scientists. Yeah,
There's a few in the room, mate.
No, but the definition of Ralf Büchler or the institutes that we can reproduce the pin test and all that, they make the definition of the age of the pupa and the diameter of the needle and all that. Yeah, and then we can vergleichen, also
Compare.
compare, genau, ne?
Ja.
Aber Kaira, ich bin sehr gespannt, ich bin geduldig, ich warte jetzt noch 3 Jahre und dann wünsche ich mir
I'm
eine
very
Antwort.
excited and I'm very patient and I will wait for the next 3 years and then I will tell you.
That sounds great. I have very limited experience with the pin test, but when I did compare pin tests with larvae and pupae, the larvae just seem to pop with a pin, and the pupae are much more resistant. So I think using purple eye is going to have a big difference in the mortality.
Absolute, yeah. But for me, it's important that I can practice. I have to understand. I make my questions, but I have to practice it. Yeah, and this is the pin test is only one thing I look. In the end of the day, the bees have to give me the answer from all my questions. They have to survive and they have to deliver honey and all the other characters I want. Yeah.
Steve's just asked what the smallest colony is you've tested, Lutz, the pin test.
Anna, kannst du kurz sagen?
Das ist die kleinste Kolonie, die du je getestet hast mit dem Pin-Test. Wie groß war die ungefähr?
In Kieler, das haben wir in dem
Nuke.
gesehen.
Nuke. The Nuke size.
Warte, ich hab's hier, wir haben ja ein Foto davon.
He has a photo of that.
Ja, hier. Das ist rechts, on the right side is the brood frame.
Ja.
Ja. Warte, wo war denn das mit der Infektion? Also, nee, they are very, very small.
I think it looks like a mini mating nuke, Steve, with 3 frames. The look of it.
4 frames.
Here, 4 frames.
This is 4 frames like this. And also Apidea, you know that size, maybe Apidea also. Yeah, genau. Okay, good.
We might have to revisit this another day. Has anyone else got anything they would like to ask or add, or that we didn't get to that they feels valuable? Buzz asks where he can get the pin applicator. They're available at pin-test.com.
Lutz, machst du nochmal auf die letzte Seite gehen? Could you please go to the last slide? There you see, this is the English, the German version of the test, the pin test shop. We do have an English
Yeah, I discovered
Squirrel
that.
website.
Yeah,
So where
it's
you can get
/en/.
yeah, correct. So it's just a bit of information because the German side is all in German. So we created a one-page scroller just for the international beekeepers who want to find out how you work on it. So yeah, you can order it there, pintest.com.
Yeah,
I've
but
got
it's
yours on the
better-
way, Clara.
It's better to do it like Paul text me,
Email.
also by email or stuff like this. Buy a little, also some more, ne? Make a good price, then we can make a good price for groups like association, like Paul's association. Find important is that we do the things. This is the most important, yeah. And then we learn and learn and learn. And then for this, for sure, or when I have a dealer in United States or Australia, unbelievable. Then yeah.
Well, I think that's a worthwhile thing, Lutz. Like I bought a dozen, so if anyone does want them in Australia, that was my intention behind getting a dozen of them over here, was that anyone that was interested could have access rather than annoying Lutz terribly. I do know that the SBGMI team has actually showed some interest in getting some over there as well, Lutz. So no doubt they'll get an order in for a dozen or something for the people that want them as well. But that's definitely the way to do it. That saved us a lot of money buying them that way. And if we can put more of them into more beekeepers' hands and we do more testing, and that's got to be a good thing for all of us.
Definitely.
The warmest temperature, that's actually an interesting, with the temperature, Lutz, do you find that the temperature is based on the bearding, so on the bees externally on the hive? So if you can see the bees, they're inside the hive on the frames, it's fine to pin test?
Anna, kannst du mal genau übersetzen?
Wenn die Bienen drin sind, also würdest du immer warten, bis die Bienen drin sind, statt wenn sie draußen
Ja.
hängen. Das wirst du wahrscheinlich.
Wenn die Bienen draußen
An der
sind, dann
Honey.
ist etwas nicht richtig. Das ist super Stress für die. Super
Nein,
Stress.
das war nicht die Frage. Wenn du testest, wenn die Bienen drin sind.
Ja, natürlich.
Ja.
Also am best time is before nectar flow start. Ja, also
Before it starts.
But still within the day, because obviously all of the forager bees are outside, so you have a little bit less bees on the comb to handle, and just to get them out of the way, to find those 50 closed cells in the right stadium. But
yeah,
yes,
and you have to count also for the 6 hour. I make the 6 hour photo. Yeah.
Yep.
And when you make the test at 8 o'clock in the evening, you have to go 2 o'clock in the night. Oh, it's not good.
so yeah, you have to time it right.
Yep. Very good.
I think, Lutz, that our bees don't build up like you do in Germany. So you say just before the honey flow, we probably can't have that. Our honey and our pollen comes in together, and the bees build up, and when they're big enough, there'll be honey. But it's like a honey flow all the time, almost.
Unbelievable.
But
yeah.
Stefan,
But
that's really good, because all of the beekeepers globally, they have different different yields and different forage. So if everyone uses pin test or other methods, then we can get the knowledge together, and then it's not one solution fits all.
So in New Zealand, they have this whole months of building up. The bees start bringing in the pollen, and you feed them sugar water so that they can multiply. And there's this honey flow, bang, say between Christmas and February. That's the honey flow. But before that, from September, they'll start building up.
Yeah. It's also, I think, when you make the test, you need to go to the brood. Yeah. And when you have 3 or 4 honey super, you have to push them up all the time and close and push up. All this is so much work, you know.
Oh, I don't.
We-
You should come to me, Lutz.
No, no, Lutz, we don't.
I'm just about to go into winter here, and I'm still running 8, 9 frames of brood in some hives. Like it's crazy. I don't take my honey supers off. They stay on my hives 12 months of the year. They never
Yes,
come
but
off.
we don't do like they in Germany. I reckon they'll put say 5 honey supers, maybe 4 up there, and when that is full, they extract in one cyclus. We extract the whole time. As soon as the honey super is full, or the second one, I'll start extracting.
Okay, yeah, this is so different, no? But yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is the interesting part for us, Lutz, because I've got brood 12 months of the year. So I actually have drones where I am in my colonies right now going into winter, and I'll still have drones before spring starts. And they will just be, I'll be making varroa mites like you wouldn't believe up here. So if you don't get resistance or something to, let's not say resistance, let's say like the Varroa 2033 goal is just a reduction in having to monitor, to test, to treat, a reduction to have to do all those things is just a great start.
I actually like to take my bees to places where there's less honey, because the honey is it's just giving me work. I don't want to see honey. I don't want to extract honey. I breed bees. I look at what bees do inside, how they do it, choose a queen, breed from her, do my inseminations, do tests. I hate honey. How can I get rid of it?
No, Stefan, no hate. Honey is beautiful, yeah. But maybe
okay,
for you,
I
you can...
overexpressed myself. It's not really that bad, okay?
Yeah,
I don't hate.
I think you like honey, yeah. But when you produce honeycombs in the wooden frame like we do it, you lose 30% of the honey because the bees have to put a lot of energy inside to make the wax and all that stuff, yeah.
Very convincing. I need to do that. Might
Yeah.
change my ways.
And then you can sell it
At a higher price.
prices, yeah, 60 euro per kilogram. Yeah? And this will be interesting.
I
Okay.
am strongly looking at that.
I'd just like to, I don't think there's anything else. Has anyone else got anything to add? I think the silence is deafening there. So it looks like you might have a few to ship out in the coming weeks as well, Lutz. So it's worked out nicely. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much, Anna. Truly appreciate the
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
The language conversion. We couldn't have done it without you.
I know, Lutz did that perfectly.
And yeah, for the people that are there, I think we've answered all the questions. Thank you to all the people that have attended and made this truly memorable, and we've connected dots from all over the world tonight. So I hope we can continue, and maybe we might have to schedule one of these next time with Kyra as the presenter or something, and Lutz can be on the receiving end of the UBO speech, because I'm sure we've got some very interesting developments coming through that I see, luckily for myself, before the study comes out and tells us the answer. So there's all very exciting things happening from all over the world. Yeah, just
happy to do it, and I'd love to test Lutz's colonies one day. We should get you some UBO so you can see the relationship.
I think we actually discussed it. Yeah.
Yeah, but Kyra, you come to Denmark, sure?
I'd love to. Hopefully I'll be there for Epimondia at least.
Yeah, Apimondia. We meet on Apimondia. We have a coffee and a chat there.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm B11 is I choose a stand called B11 is a number. It's very close to the coffee shop.
Smart.
Let's do that on purpose, I'm sure.
Very good. Thank you everyone for attending. It's been truly memorable, and we will catch up and do this again another time when we all have some results and some questions from our results, because I'm sure we will be back in contact, Lutz. So thank you very much, everyone, and thank you SBGMI and the AQBA for supporting this. I couldn't have helped or done any of this without all of yous, and yous all know who you are: Kyra, Kareem, Stefan, Lutz, Anna. Thank you very much. Truly appreciate it. Should be available on YouTube next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Paul. Well done.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.